Thanks for tuning into Talking Point. I'm your host, Niraj Shah. The last talking point of the year is, well, not really looking back at the year gone by per se, but trying to focus on what is active and current. And I don't think there's anything more than auto and auto ancillaries which is active and current. The whole conversation around PLI. Plus, the December sales numbers would be out tomorrow, the last working day of the week, and therefore autos stay firmly in focus. We thought it's best to get in somebody who is engaged with the auto space for years and could be an active beneficiary of the PLI scheme as and when we get the details out, and talk to him about how he sees what shape and form the PLI scheme should come about, which would benefit the industry at large, which would probably work or not work for his company. Will give us insight there too. And talk more about Minda Industries quarter 3 as well, because they had a really good quarter 2. And Mr. NK Minda, thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking to us on Talking Point. Hope all is safe.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I hope you all are safe.
All good, sir. Thank you. Can I first start off with the industry view and then get down to Minda Industries? What's your sense about this auto PLI? Because a lot of reports that we've read and brokerages which had access to the draft prospectus, whatever you call it, say that autos, yes, but auto ancillaries and exporters in particular would stand to benefit in a big way, especially the larger corporations, as a result of this. What is your sense, sir?
So thank you, Niraj, for inviting me. First of all, I would like to thank Government of India to introduce this policy to promote the export and Atmanirbhar Bharat, the self-reliance. And I think this is a very good scheme, but as we all know, that policy is not yet in the public domain. It is not yet shared. Whatever we know is all from media. But it seems that it will really promote. But I would say that if it is shared properly with the stakeholder like us and the auto industry and our association, so we can contribute more for the win-win situation for the nation as well as for the industry. And I would say any nation, even for our nation, developing country, we need basically three things. One is the employment from the government point of view. And the second is the investments, so that our GDP, the circulation of the money. And the foremost importance is the localization. So as we know that we do import about 1 lakh crore rupees of auto component in the country. So if we are able to work together with the government to achieve all these three objectives of the government, if it is not anything else other than this, so then we can make a good win-win situation. And of course, export is very, very important from India. But export, has its own challenge. The transport cost, I would say the logistic cost, the stocking inventory at the different places, and the just-in-time delivery to the OEM's customer and all that. But I think we can make a cohesive effort to achieve the required benefit by the government.
Mr. Minda, various studies done by think tanks show that if indeed economies try and save the local production via artificial means for a period of time, it will eventually not be beneficial in the long run. Do you concur with the same? Or do you reckon that the industry, auto spare parts industry in certain pockets might need that incentive right now, and maybe in 3-4 years' time, it will be competitive enough to export, whether or not India joins the RCEP?
So I would say, as I said before, if you do a Pareto of 1 lakh crore rupees on the component, so you will come to know that many of the components, we do not have an economic of scale. So, and sometimes, a country like China and all that, they do get benefits on the raw material, and then they dump the component here in India. And government do and does sometimes implement this anti-dumping duty on the various components from time to time. So all those can be avoided, and we can see what are all those components, and try to make it for a time-bound period that we can import. Also the import restrictions, that we can import for 2 years or 3 years at max, and then we have to localize those and get an economic of scale. and then we can start export as well, because we are competitive. Many places we have proved our competitiveness in the international market as well.
Oh, yes, for sure. I mean, auto components kind of underrated, but a bit of a big global scale achiever for sure. Just a follow-up question to that, Mr. Minda. My conversations with companies in the pharma and the specialty chemical space, or the chemical space rather, seems to suggest that some of the players might not be enthused to take the advantage of the PLI scheme because the advantage stays only for 5 years, and uh, post the fifth year, the capacity setup, etc., might not be lucrative. Now it's different for electronics because those guys are setting up temporary lease-based manufacturing. It probably can't happen the same way with chemicals or with auto parts. So my question to you, sir, is if there is a PLI benefit extended for select auto components, be it in engine parts, gearboxes, transmission parts, what have you, would you as a company be keen on any part to take the advantage if it fits the bill, even if the advantages are only for 5 years?
So I would say it depends upon the vehicle manufacturers. As I again said that we as a component manufacturers follow the auto industry, the vehicle makers. So if there is an economic of scale in localizing, in manufacturing, and get a benefit, if it is a win-win situation, if they would like to import, for example, let's say Suzuki or Toyota, if we localize in India and we discuss together with them, even then if they can import back those components into their country, because the cost of their component in when they import in those countries will also get the cost effective. So if that kind of a cohesive collaboration between the OEMs and the component manufacturers, we will get an opportunity to enhance our capacity and increase our export, and also localize, as I said, out of those components which we are importing at the project. And in the
So,
past, we did it on our own. You must have seen in our company as an alloy wheel, it is being imported for the last 20-25 years. And as I gave an example in the beginning, there is a raw material subsidy in China, and China was dumping it here. We did got this anti-dumping duty in the four-wheel, alloy wheel, two-wheeler. It is not yet introduced, but we were able to localize this, and then we are cost effective, and now that we are thinking of export into the different part of the world.
okay. So, Mr. Minda, just trying to understand this, are you suggesting, maybe again, all of this is possibility, of course, are you suggesting that you would take advantage of the PLI scheme if the opportunity exists not only for import substitution, but also for you being able to export in some fashion? Otherwise, it may not be lucrative.
Well, I would not say this. I would not say this. It has to be.
Okay.
It has to strike a balance. Our first priority, as I said, that again a three priority: the foreign exchange saving. Whether we earn the foreign exchange when we export, but we save the foreign exchange when we reduce our import. So if we are able to reduce our import from 1 lakh crore, let's say, by 40,000 or
No,
50,000
sir.
crore, 5
Sir,
years.
sir,
Sorry.
sir, sorry. That might be for the country at large. I was talking about Minda Industries. Would you take a plunge only both the things concurrently happen, or you would be happy even if you have an import substitution opportunity, even if the PLI benefit is only for 5 years?
No, the PLI benefit, as we come to know from the media, it is for the Atmanirbhar Bharat as well as for the export. So we would like to take the benefit of both as a company. And there is an opportunity. We will be more competitive than at the present. So we would definitely like to take the opportunity wherever it exists, along with our customers.
Okay. I'm guessing more clarity might probably come in once the plans are unveiled and once you take a business decision. So we would love to talk to you post that as well. Maybe at the end of your quarterly results, that might help. Just any other salient points before we move on to Minda Industries? Anything else regarding PLI, Mr. Minda, that you believe, if comes about, uh, would be a game changer of sorts?
As I said, it is a very good scheme. The government is very keen to promote Atmanirbhar Bharat, reduce localization, promote export, and I think it is going to be in the value chain. And and the bigger industry will be particularly, we will be able to pass our benefit to the MSME. And as an ecosystem, I think we will grow in the auto sector. We are number 4. Soon, I think our target is to reach number 3 in the next few years. And I'm quite positive and optimistic that we should do better.
Sorry, can I ask you, sir, what products would you be targeting if at all the scheme is open? Would the PLI scheme be product specific, or would it essentially let you expand in a select range of products and then you go and choose? Would you use it for existing products, or how would it work?
It depends, the capacity, the requirement, the opportunity, as I said before, whether it is.
Okay,
But
fine.
it should be product specific. But the government should look into, therefore I said in the beginning, it is the scheme is not yet out in the public
Sure,
domain.
sure.
So if we are able to collaborate with the government and make a policy in such a way, in such a manner, as a cohesive approach together as a team, so that it is benefit for the nation and benefit for the industry at
Got it.
large.
Got it. Okay. Let's talk about Minda per se. You had a very strong quarter 2 from what I read, of course, and some memory as well. How has quarter 3 been? Because we've seen, in a manner of speaking, the true unlocking only happening in quarter 3. Volumes were not bad for the industry at large. Maybe for your select segments as well, they've been okay. How has quarter 3 been for you?
I would not be able to comment because this is a
No,
public.
don't give me exact numbers, sir. I'm just asking for a flavor.
I would say that we are aiming on our cost reduction initiatives, what we started during the COVID time, and we continue to maintain the same. And our target is how can we do better, even though we have a stress on the top line, in particularly in December, in the two-wheeler segment mainly. And we should be, try to reduce cost and come to the expected, desire of the investors.
The belief was, sir, that you would see a sharp growth in business in the medium term because of the ramp up of the alloy wheel segment. I mean, Harita notwithstanding. So, how do you? I mean, do you reckon that will probably happen only end of quarter 4, or could we see signs of that happening in the current year itself?
I would again say it is a mix-up. It is a mix-up is going to be there. Harita is now, we are going to integrate perhaps because of NCLT, there was a delay. And now we should be able to do it in this Q4, integrated it. And we should see the benefit in the near future. But as I said that in our going forward, we try to aim and target to increase our kit value, in the newer model, whichever the newer model the OEMs are going to bring. We try to target more and more product line introduction into that, and the top line along with, while maintaining our margins line.
No, the one last question, Mr. Minda, and that is when I looked at your con call as well, or the analyst conversations that you would have had, you had some very large, very, very interesting order wins that came in from multiple of your multiple clients from yours as well. New order wins were very, very healthy. You had also, via the rights issue, I reckon, done some debt reduction too. Wouldn't all of that kind of play out in quarter 3 itself, or do you think it will kind of play out in quarter 4?
I would say that we should do better. We should do better in Q3 as well. It is not only that we depend, quarter on quarter, we try to do that, it is not in our hand. It depends on basically the market, the volume, the size. But when the market, we always aim that when the market is growing, let's say, for example, 10%. So we should aim, we are always targeting to grow maybe 2% or 3% more than the market because of our newer product addition and all that, as far as the top line is concerned. And as I said before, we always focus on our cost and try to, control the cost. We got a very good opportunity of the cost saving in the COVID, and then we try to maintain mainly on the traveling and then so on, and many of the such expenses.
Well, I hope the new normal is better for you, Mr. Minda. Thank you so much for joining in today, giving us some insights into this. But I agree, most would happen after the PLI schemes are out. Happy 2021 to you.
The same to you, and Happy New Year.
Thank you so much, sir. And viewers, thanks for tuning in to this conversation with Minda Industries. Some insights. I kind of suspected that we'll probably be able to get better insights once the PLI scheme is out, but it was important to know from a large player about how is it that they are anticipating this whole scheme and what would they be doing. I hope it helped you in some way. Thanks so much for tuning into Talking Point.